Karen called cops to remove me, then froze as the dispatcher called me, their commanding officer. The park was my sanctuary, a patchwork of community gardens where neighbors grew tomatoes, zinnias, and dreams. I'd spent years nurturing it as a volunteer coordinator, my boots caked with soil, my hands calloused from shoveling. But that evening, as the sun dipped low, a woman in a pristine, fur-trimmed coat stormed in, her heels sinking into the dirt. Karen. Her name wasn't really Karen, but it fit her voice sharp, her eyes narrowed, like she owned the place. She pointed at me, a black man in a faded jacket, and screamed, "You don't belong here. I'm calling the cops." Her words sliced through the quiet, drawing gasps from families nearby. My crime? Watering the marigolds. The accusation stung, but what came next burned hotter. She'd been sabotaging our garden for weeks, and I was about to prove it. Karen's tirade wasn't new. For months, the garden had suffered. Plants uprooted, tools stolen, signs defaced. We'd suspected vandalism, but had no proof. I'd stayed late, installing a cheap security camera, hoping to catch the culprit. Last night, it paid off. Grainy footage showed Karen, in her signature coat, ripping out seedlings and smashing pots, muttering about low-class weeds ruining her view from her condo across the street. I'd shown the video to the community board that morning, and we'd planned to confront her legally. But Karen didn't know that yet. She thought she could weaponize the police to silence me, her phone already to her ear as she demanded they remove this trespasser. The crowd murmured, some stepping back, others filming. I stood still, watering can in hand, heart pounding, but face calm. I knew something she didn't. As Karen ranted to the dispatcher, 2 officers arrived, their radios crackling. She pointed at me, her voice dripping with disdain. "Arrest him. He's destroying property." The officers, a young rookie and a grizzled veteran, exchanged glances. I set the watering can down, hands visible, and said, "Check your radio. Dispatch has my name." Karen scoffed, but the veteran officer's radio buzzed. "Unit 12, be advised, you're addressing Captain Marcus Ellis, precinct commander." The words hung in the air like smoke. Karen's jaw dropped, her phone slipping slightly in her grip. The rookie's eyes widened, and the veteran gave me a subtle nod. I wasn't just a gardener, I was an off-duty cop, overseeing the very officer she called. But the real twist was coming, and it wasn't about me. The crowd parted as Mrs. Nguyen, a quiet widow who tended the garden's herb patch, stepped forward. She was barely 5 feet tall, her hands trembling but her voice steady. "She did it," Mrs. Nguyen said, pointing at Karen. "I saw her last week, too, pouring bleach on my basil." Gasps rippled through the onlookers. Mrs. Nguyen had been too scared to speak up, fearing Karen's influence, her condo board connections, her loud threats. But the camera footage, which I'd shared with her earlier, gave her courage. She held up her phone, showing a photo she'd snapped of Karen mid-vandalism, time-stamped days before. The evidence was undeniable. Karen's face drained of color, her smugness crumbling like the broken pots at her feet. The confrontation escalated fast. Karen stammered, "This is a setup. You people are lying." But the officers weren't buying it. The veteran, Officer Daniels, stepped closer, his voice low but firm. "Ma'am, we've got video evidence and a witness." "Step back." Karen's eyes darted, searching for an escape, but the crowd closed in, phones out, recording her downfall. I spoke up, my tone even but laced with months of frustration. "You thought you could bully us out of our garden, Karen. You thought no one would fight back." I gestured to the ruined, beds tomatoes crushed, sunflowers snapped. "This was our work, our community, and you trashed it for a view." Her lips quivered, but no apology came. Instead, she doubled down, shouting, "You can't touch me. I know people." That's when the second twist hit. A man in a suit pushed through the crowd. Mr. Patel, the condo board president. Karen's ally, or so she thought. His face was grim as he held up a tablet. "Karen, we saw the footage. You're done." The board had reviewed my video and voted to ban her from their property for vandalism. Her condo, her status symbol, was now a liability to face fines, maybe eviction. The crowd erupted in cheers, but I felt no joy, only a heavy relief. Karen's eyes filled with tears, not of remorse, but of rage. She lunged at Mrs. Nguyen, screaming, "You'll pay for this." The rookie officer swiftly stepped in, cuffing her as she shrieked. The garden, once a battleground, grew quiet again, save for the hum of cicadas and the soft clicks of phone cameras capturing her humiliation. As Karen was led away, her designer coat now smeared with dirt, I looked at the crowd, neighbors, kids, elders, all united by this small patch of earth. I picked up a shattered pot, its shards sharp in my hands, and said, "We'll rebuild. We always do." Mrs. Nguyen nodded, her eyes bright with resolve. The officers tipped their hats to me, and the crowd began to disperse, some already planning to replant. The garden would heal, just as we would. But the fight wasn't over. Karen's kind of entitlement didn't vanish in one night. Still, we'd shown what truth and community could do. I hoped she'd learn, but I wasn't holding my breath. In the days that followed, the story spread in social media and local news. People debated. Was Karen a villain or just misguided? Was the garden worth the fight? I read the comments, some angry, some inspired, and wondered what others would take from this. The park was more than dirt, and seats it was a stand for something bigger. So what do you think? Was Karen's downfall justice, or was there another way? Share your thoughts. Let's talk about what's right, what's wrong, and how we grow from here.